The January transfer window is upon us, and we're going to put forward one transfer for every Premier League club, which includes the one player that Amorim needs as soon as possible, a player that could help cement Liverpool's title challenge, and the player that will save Manchester City's season. You can tell I mean business because my voice is going and this jumper's back on. That means it's winter. My OGs know. Let's get into it. And by the way, we know that January is a difficult time. So when we put forward this list of players, we're thinking about transfers that could actually happen. Like, actually happen. So let's talk Arsenal, because if Arsenal can get a decent striker this January, I think they become such more of an attacking force than they are currently, especially from open play. The set pieces, they're fantastic. We know that. But a natural goal scorer up front feels like it's one of the final pieces of the puzzle. And maybe a left winger too, but this is one transfer for every club. So this player currently plays in Saudi Arabia and has been doing okay there, but could Arsenal tempt him to the Premier League? Often players that go over there, they don't stay there for too long. Actually, well, it's a mixed bag, isn't it? But the problem is that Al Ali paid big money for him in the summer, but I'm not bothered about that. They spend big money all the time, and we've seen the likes of Jordan Henderson leave the league recently despite having big contracts. And if Arsenal could get Ivan Toney in through the door, I think it would be a marriage made in heaven. Yes, from set pieces because he's a big boy, but from open play as well. Maybe on a permanent, maybe just on a loan. So when I've watched Aston Villa this season compared to last season, I think their problem has been having that consistent threat in wide areas. Morgan Rogers has been phenomenal playing behind the striker, but with Leon Bailey just not, he's sort of out of sorts a little bit and having injury problems, I feel like they lack some direct threat out wide, especially compared to last season. But as I said earlier, I'm also fully aware that January isn't the ideal time to make a marquee signing. So that's why I've gone for a player that wouldn't see Aston Villa break the bank, whilst also being someone that they can develop and nurture, which is exactly what they did with Morgan Rogers when they brought him up from the Championship. This player that I've chosen has 7 assists this season and has created 8 big chances overall. He's also so direct on the ball, and he's only 21 years old, and that's why I'm going to go for Tom Fellows from West Brom. Okay, it's time for Bournemouth, or in the way that I seem to love to say it, Bournemouth. And they have a really well-balanced squad this season, and that's been proven with the wins over Man City, the win against Arsenal, the win against Tottenham. But this makes it difficult to pinpoint weaknesses in their squad. However, this is one transfer for every club. And when you look into it, you notice that Bournemouth don't really have a like-for-like backup for Milos Kerkez. And with how important he is tactically, that scares me a little bit for Bournemouth. But one thing that is really weird at the moment is that attacking left backs, they come at a cost. There's not many out there, so a loan could be very smart. Thus, the player that I've chosen is actually on loan at another club right now, but will apparently be recalled by his parent club due to not getting enough minutes at Sevilla. Valentin Barco has only started 3 La Liga matches this season, and with a profile very similar to Kerkez, it feels like such a smart move from Bournemouth to bring him in, see if he fits, and then maybe buy him on a permanent basis. Yes, I know it's from Brighton. Yes, maybe they're a rival. Certainly both named with the letter B. But Brighton hasn't stopped him with someone like Buonanotte, so it could happen. And it could work. I'm really ill, so I may have lost my mind. Stay with me. Speaking of B's, it's B to the Brentford. I don't think people understand just how good of a season Brentford are having right now, considering they don't actually have a left back. So far this season, Brentford have been playing Keane Lewis-Potter at left back, and it's worked well, but it's not where he's best. They've also played Sepp van den Berg there as well as youngster Jayden Megoma. But with no out-and-out left-back, signing one is probably high up on their agenda. So the player that I've chosen ticks a lot of the boxes for me. Firstly, he's attack-minded, averaging 2.91 shot-creating actions per 90 this season in League 1. And secondly, at 22, his age is perfect for Brentford. Currently playing for Roberto De Zerbi's Marseille, I believe there could be a bit of transfer wizardry, with Quentin Merlin soon to be in the Premier League, and I think Brentford is the ideal home for him. Speaking of transfers, would you like to transfer your location whilst on the internet to allow yourself to be a little bit safer? Well, then you need yourself a SurfShark VPN. A VPN is a virtual private network. It keeps your online data safe by encrypting all of the data between the device and the internet. This is crucial when using public Wi-Fi to keep those pesky cyber criminals at bay. And over the holiday period, Surfshark are providing an extra 4 months for free at an unbeatable price. With the Surfshark VPN, you can change your real location to any location around the world, over 3,200 servers in over 100 countries. And this means, especially during the holiday period, you can access new content. You might get bored pretty quickly. You might want to escape and enjoy and explore the Netflix libraries of Japan, USA, Australia, etc. Also, if you're on holiday during the Christmas period, often you can't watch your favourite sporting event, but with the SurfShark VPN, you can change your IP address back to the UK and tuck into the football that you like to, the way you like to. Masking your IP address is essential in becoming private online, and a VPN ensures your city, country, and download history aren't linked to your identity. And Surfshark's Clean Web feature blocks ads, phishing attempts, tracking, and malware, allowing you to surf the web safely. And the final thing that sets Surfshark apart and provides even more value is that you can use your VPN on unlimited devices. So if you currently don't have a VPN, it just makes sense to have one to watch what you want, wherever you want to, at an unbeatable price, with 4 months extra for free. So take a look at the link in the description. That's www.surfshark.com/Allcott to get an exclusive Surfshark holiday deal. Surfshark offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's absolutely no risk. So why not give Surfshark a go? Sticking with the bees, we've got another one. Well, not the bees, that's Brentford, but Brighton, similar to Bournemouth. I feel like the squad building done at Brighton means that they aren't screaming for a signing in January. Because even with the injury problems that they've had, they can still field a very, very strong team. But if we're talking about improving the team, there's one player that I would love to see in Hösler's system. This player is actually a Manchester City player out on loan at Borussia Dortmund. Last season at Girona, he was a cut above, registering 8 assists from right wing back. But at Dortmund, he's struggled to get in the team, meaning that Man City may recall him and send him on loan somewhere else. Jan Kutu's skill set and technical ability, I think, would work brilliantly for Brighton, and I'd like to see it, which is why I've put him forward. So it's a very poorly kept secret that Chelsea have their eyes on this player. And his eventual destination in the summer really surprised me, to be honest. Victor Osimhen's stats at Galatasaray this season are a joke. In 12 starts, he's bagged 10 goals and registered 4 assists. So many of his goals are poachers' goals too. And albeit sometimes, especially in the Europa League this season, he's needed quite a few chances to score these goals, which is slightly worrying. I still think that Chelsea will be at the front of the queue in January. The real question here is, if they do go and sign him, yes, of course he's an elite forward, but do you need him with Nicholas Jackson in such good form, and would it stunt Nicholas Jackson's development? Yes is my answer, and what about Nkunku? But how do you guys feel? Chelsea fans, let me know in the comments down below. So it's no secret that Crystal Palace are missing Elise badly this season. Sarr was brought in this summer, but he's more of a traditional winger, and when you play the system that Glasner does, you want someone who is exceptional in those half spaces. So I had a look at which teams play in this similar system and which players are doing well in those systems, and one name, it kept creeping up. He's actually on loan currently, and it blows my mind that his parent club Leeds have let him leave on loan this season. Sam Greenwood, currently at Preston, has some fantastic underlying numbers. No Championship player has created more big chances than Greenwood this season with 9. And he's still only 22. I think his ceiling is incredibly high. He's had a few loan moves, which means he's played games, and I think they should go and dip into the Championship market once more. So let me tell you a little story about Everton. Because in the summer of 2023, Everton bought a then 37-year-old right-back, Ashley Young, to be the cover for the then 35-year-old right-back, Seamus Coleman. And whilst Young has had some good performances, let's be honest, as someone, it's a temporary solution. You can't be having so many old boys at right-back. And now, at the age of 39 years old, Ashley Young has started 13 Premier League matches for Everton, playing over 1,000 minutes already. So it's safe to say that Everton are in need of a youthful, or at least in the early part of their 30s, right-back. But finances are, of course, an issue when it comes to Everton, so they need to look at who they can get in for cheap. And one club in France need to start selling soon because of their own financial problems: Lyon. Their right-back is someone you might remember, 27-year-old Ainsley Maitland-Niles. And his versatility and ability to play right-back, I think, could be a good, cheap solution for Everton as they look to bring in a younger right-back in the summer. Fulham are in such a good position right now, and so they now have a choice: spend and push for Europe, or hope they can do it without spending. But I think it's about the opportunity, and I think if they feel like there is an opportunity to add genuine quality to the squad, they should look to do it. And that can often come from acquiring players who aren't currently playing at bigger clubs. This is a method, a strategy that they have done a lot in the last couple of years. And that's even if it's a loan. This player has only started 2 league matches for his club this season, despite being bought for $45 million in the summer. Douglas Luiz, yep, I mean it, alongside Sander Berge for Fulham, in my opinion, would be such a great combination, and one that could see Fulham finish in the top 7 for me. He's not in Juventus' plans right now, so go and get him on loan, and of course he's a goal threat as well. And that might sound crazy, but Fulham were linked with Pogba very recently. They're swimming in new waters. Ipswich have shown a lot of promise this season when playing on the counter-attack. Their first goal against Wolves was a great example of how playing a long ball to Delap can be effective. But one area that I think they may need to strengthen to allow them to improve their direct play is right wing. Wes Burns was great for them in the Championship. And I don't want to have a go at someone who's obviously a bit of a legend for Ipswich, but seemingly has lost a lot of confidence this season. And with Amari Hutchinson playing central, I think a direct winger would be a smart move for them. We spoke about Lyon earlier, and with them needing to sell players, as previously mentioned, I think it's a great opportunity for Ipswich to bring in a direct winger that creates chances from nothing. Sometimes when you're battling down the bottom, you just need a guy that can make something for you. And I know this player doesn't actually have an assist to his name just yet, but with 5.11 shot creating actions per 90, it shows that Ernest Nuama has genuine quality in that department, and I think would be a clever signing for Ipswich. He's been linked with a few Premier League clubs. Now, there's a lot to like about Leicester under Van Nistelrooy. There are obvious problems when it comes to conceding chances and XG, but I think with the correct coaching, this can be solved, or at least sort of dampened, lessened somewhat. One area I feel like Van Nistelrooy will definitely look to bring in reinforcements for is striker. Jamie Vardy is a club legend, but you can't rely on him every week with his age. Van Nistelrooy also, and I know that's blasphemy. I know it is, and he normally proves me wrong, and I'd love to see it again. But the other thing that I think is important to say is that Van Nistelrooy also likes a target man up top, which Leicester currently do not have. It's been rumoured that Leicester will offload some players in January to make way for some of these signings that Van Nistelrooy wants, meaning they may have the spare cash to bring in that target man. And listen, we've done it before, and we really did want to shoehorn Jonas Wind in again somehow. We've spoken about him a few times over the years. But we're staying away because we think Nottingham Forest striker Taiwo Awoniyi, could be a great option for Leicester if he starts on a consistent basis. The big question, of course, is would Nottingham Forest let him go? But Chris Wood is clearly the starter for Forest this year, and Awoniyi is Premier League proven. So if you can get him, wow, it's the kind of striker that could keep you up. Because his goals to minute ratio, it's pretty insane. Right, Liverpool. I've seen Liverpool linked with a few different attacking midfielders in the last few weeks. You've got Ryan Cherky being a popular name. And again, Lyon player makes sense. But we've gone in a different direction here. Szoboszlai's off-the-ball work cannot be underestimated. Honestly, it's my litmus test for if you kind of get it when it comes to football. If you really don't think Szoboszlai is brilliant, then I'm struggling with you. I'll be honest. And therefore, it can't be underestimated for me. And I also believe that left-back is probably, it's becoming certainly a far more pressing issue for Liverpool as the days go by, with sort of confidence that Robertson's got, the question marks over his legs as he sort of run himself into the ground a little bit, or maybe he needs a little bit of break, or maybe he just doesn't have that real competition in terms of Tsimikas. He knows he's going to play. It could be some subliminal shit. I don't know. So for me, realistically, Liverpool have two options here. Either wait for the summer and make a big attempt at someone like Theo Hernandez. And as I said, left backs, it does feel like they are at a minimum and at a premium. Or go for an option that they can realistically get in January and mould them into an elite player down the line. A bit like Robertson himself. You went and got him at Hull, and then he became the player he has been, right? So the player that we've gone for is 23 years old. He's in the top 1% for successful take-ons. He's brilliant 1v1 and already has 6 goal involvements. Now, he's had a bit of bad press recently, but he's also obviously a left-back as well. So the name I'm going to put forward is Rayan Nouri. Obviously, lost it recently, but don't let that bad press get in the way of a really, really good player. Man City, wow, wee wow, woo, woo, woo. It's been a while since I've said that on this channel, but it's worthy of Man City. And I really like that Man City are being linked with Bruno Guimaraes. I know Newcastle fans won't feel the same way, but if you're a Man City fan, it makes complete sense. And I think it reveals Manchester City's Rodri plan, or no Rodri plan. Plan for not having Rodri. I think what Man City intend on doing is bringing in someone who can play as a 6 in Rodri's absence, whilst then still being able to play in other positions when Rodri is back fit. And look, it's such a smart move. But that's an easy one, and he's already being linked, and we like to offer you value here on the James Lawrence Allcott channel. So if you do feel a little bit guilty for not being a subscriber to the channel, now is the time to hit that subscribe button and the like button as well. Come on. And in return, we will give you another name because we have found someone else who ticks these boxes. And his contract is actually expiring in the summer, meaning he may be cheaper than Guimaraes. So we've gone for Joshua Kimmich, who, despite being 29, is still world class right now. And his contract actually expires in the summer, meaning he may somehow be cheaper than Guimaraes. So we've gone for Joshua Kimmich. That's right. They're only going to want quality players, and Joshua Kimmich is certainly one of them. And he is 29 years old. And despite that, and I know the age of the midfield and Man City as a whole is pretty high, he's still world class. And although Guimaraes, if you can get him, is still, I think, the smarter option, if there needs to be an alternative and someone who is technically capable of playing in a Man City side, but also changing up positions, Joshua Kimmich is a great shout. Now, there are quite a few profiles that Ruben Amorim needs to add to his squad in order to recreate his sporting tactics perfectly. We've actually done a whole video on it if you want to go and check it out in terms of options that are available and would be brilliant for Man United. But one area that I'm not sold on is the left wing-back position. I really feel that Amorim will look to firstly get a left-footed player in that position. Dalot is struggling, but also someone who is attack-minded first and foremost. So when we're analysing those options, we narrowed the search to players who are left-backs but actually started out as wingers. And this player actually still plays as a winger for his national team, with a contract ending in 2025 and reportedly seeking a move away. If Man United can beat Real Madrid to the signing of Alphonso Davies, it would be a perfect Amorim signing. And I think Alphonso Davies would enjoy the role massively as well. And before you say it's unrealistic, they did beat Real Madrid to the signing of Leny Yoro. But as I said, go check out that video because we put forward a different, more long-term option. Right, I was torn when it came to Newcastle because on one hand, I really wanted to put forward a central midfielder who could operate as a 10 or an 8 because I just feel like the chance creation numbers from Newcastle's central midfielders, they're not the best. You got Joe Willock, who's got the highest shot creating actions per 90 this season, and he doesn't start that many matches, right? So that's one option, okay? But I think there is a glaring hole there for Newcastle, and it's not actually in midfield. At left wing, it's great because you have Anthony Gordon, you've got Harvey Barnes, capable of being effective from the left. But with Jacob Murphy, works his socks off and gets the odd goal, and he's got a lovely smile. And Miguel Almiron, who I can't seem to say his name, but he's also got a lovely smile on the right. I just feel like maybe less smiling, more high-quality football would be the way to go. I think an upgrade is a fair shout. And this upgrade, also being able to lead the line, I think would also be positive for the team as well. And that's why I've gone for Randall Kolo Muani, who will be allowed to leave PSG this January, according to reports. So this could be a loan, but it would bolster that position so nicely for Newcastle. All right, Nottingham Forest. This one was actually very tough. There's quality everywhere you look in Forest squad. However, when digging deep, I came to a conclusion. Now, firstly, Taiwo Awoniyi isn't getting minutes with Chris Wood's fantastic form, which is why Leicester should get involved. Awoniyi is also 27, so it wouldn't be a bad time to sell him with his stock still decent. And with Chris Wood still in great form, there's no need to replace him just yet. He's a sturdy man as our Chris. But what Forest could look to do is bring in a talent that may one day replace him in a year or 18 months' time. And thus, we've got ourselves a gem for you, Tricky Trees fans. He was the top scorer in Brazil last season. He's got a great frame about him and is unbelievably technical when holding up the ball, which is something obviously Nuno has enjoyed as a manager, and he's got the best out of those kind of players as well. And he finished top scorer despite playing in a Corinthian side that only finished 7th. Get ready to Google, Forest fans, Yuri Alberto. That's Yuri, Y-U-R-I, Alberto. Southampton's lack of defensive cover has only made their problems worse in recent weeks, if that's even possible. And when you're at the bottom of the table, you've got two options. Throw money at it and hope it works, which is kind of what they did last time, or try to make some smart signings that will help you next year if you were to get relegated. And with Southampton being a well-run club generally, I think that the latter option is the one that they'll take. So we scoured the Championship for some of the best defenders that we could find, and one name kept popping up. He's actually someone who got himself an assist playing left back against Queen's Park Rangers in the opening game of the season. Torbjorn Hegem is a freak. The lad's a freak, but in a good way. He's 6'4", left-footed, and is a monster aerially, winning 63% of his aerial duels, but also 64% of his ground duels. He could be the crown jewels for Southampton. Probably not this season. They'll probably go down. Next season might be useful trying to get back up. Maybe the playoffs. So, there's been a lot of talk about Tottenham going for a winger either in January or in the summer. To me, it feels like a summer signing, I've got to be honest, because realistically, Son is getting older, Werner's loan won't be made permanent, and Mikey Moore he's also still very young. But despite this, for this season, I think you're okay. I think it's a problem that they'll deal with in the summer. So instead, we've gone for Kulusevski cover, because I don't think people understand just how hard he works off the ball. We've done a video on how he is I think one of the most unique players in the Premier League. He's having an outstanding season. But Kulusevski ranks third for time spent running at high speed out of all Premier League players, meaning Spurs will need to manage his minutes at some point, especially if they go deep in the Europa League. And I think we found a profile that would gel nicely in Spurs' midfield, doing specifically the Kulusevski role and just giving him that little breather every now and again. This player has 6 goals and 8 assists this season, whilst also averaging 2.6 key passes per game and 58% dribble success rate. At 24, I think Finn Azaz of Middlesbrough would be a great option for Tottenham without Spurs having to change their system to adapt to having no Kulusevski. Because I'm touching wood, I hope it doesn't happen. He's just running a hell of a lot. And Finn Azaz is class. He's a Premier League player in waiting. So continue to stockpile those guys. Striker is a position that West Ham will probably look to add to in January after Mikel Antonio's devastating car crash, which he now looks to be recovering from, fortunately, and we wish him all the best. It rules him out for up to a year, meaning West Ham only have Fulkrug as an out-and-out 9, whilst also obviously having Bowen, who can play there too, but do you really want him as your out-and-out forward? And despite having spent quite a bit of cash in the summer, they may look for, I think, a reasonably priced striker this January. And one that leapt out at me is a player that is out of contract in the summer, meaning his club would likely accept a low offer for him. And they kind of need the money, and it's all kind of gone awry for him as well, despite also being a Premier League striker. I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin would be a great option to have as that target man for West Ham, considering the talent that they have in attacking midfield and in those wide areas. It could be just the move and just the club that he needs. And this one is actually quite exciting. This player was linked with West Ham in the summer, but allegedly turned them down because he believed his current club, AC Milan, is a bigger club, which is fair. I mean, it's true, isn't it? Right? Surely. Anyway, West Ham then went on and bought Max Kilman, but since these events have transpired, this player has been phased out almost entirely out of the AC Milan starting 11, having been on the bench for the last 5 of the last 7 matches. And this has seen rumours of a move away, and a loan move to Wolves, I think, could be a smart move to gain some playing time, maybe to get himself a better, respectfully, move in the summer. It also fixes Wolves' problems of having no centre-backs right now, or no centre-backs that I believe are good enough. Fikayo Tomori at Wolves feels perfect, and it could be the signing that keeps them up.